Welcome everybody to a Spartan Sports Report, number 1 for the fall season of CHS Sports. And Sam and I welcome our most frequent guest, who will get our award probably at the end of the season as being here most often. But it's always good to see Brent Duncan, Athletic Director of CHS.
I'm glad to be back to see both of you. It's hard to believe it's 2016-2017.
That's right. That's right. Okay, today, Monday, varsity volleyball and junior varsity volleyball at New Palestine. The weather's not a problem, right?
No, it's always nice to have those indoor sports. I kind of joked that baseball and softball need to be in the fall, and we could put volleyball and soccer in the spring. We wouldn't worry about the rain out so much. But it's always good to have indoor sports.
What about the volleyball team? Tell us about it.
Well, we graduated 2 seniors last year, and we got 3 this year. I know if I start to rattle off their names, I'll miss one of them. But I think it's Shelby Brown and Riley Joy and Brittany Phillips. So we're still kind of young. We actually have some taller girls this year. I noticed that we put our hands up over the nets. We can get our fingers over the top nets. Which it's been a while since we've had a couple girls pushing that 6-foot mark. So, and they're both sophomores. So
good.
We're going to be young. I'm sure our libero is a sophomore, and so it'll be an interesting year. And of course, our Marley Smith played a little bit of varsity last year. She's a sophomore, so could be good and could be bad. Being young is all right. Just got a lot of room to grow, and got a new assistant JV coach because Brett Lee's out, and got a new teacher in there coaching, Ian Devereaux, and of course Coach Pfeiffer's back for about her 10th year. So,
yes, good deal. So, that's great.
Good to have that in
that's
place.
Great.
Okay, that's a great job with those girls.
She works them hard, and they learn a lot of volleyball.
Had a lot of success. We've had great volleyball teams, haven't we?
She was a great player herself, so it's carried over, and it's one of those coaches that we have that is a CHS alumnus. So I like that, and we've talked about that last year, but I think it's good because they understand the tradition and they understand the pride of CHS athletics.
Didn't she have a girl playing last year?
Yeah, Brittany graduated last year. I think she's going to IUPUI. Don't quote me on that, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was a little bit of thinking maybe Coach Pfeiffer would give it up after that. But
well, you never know. I mean,
sure.
She kind of started teaching later in life, so she's got a little bit of ways to go. So
okay.
As long as she's still here, so we're still happy.
On Tuesday, the girls' varsity soccer will be with Newcastle, and that'll be here at Connersville starting at 5 o'clock. Also, the junior varsity soccer with Newcastle, that'll have a 6:30 start time. The boys' tennis will be at Blue River Valley, and the varsity and junior varsity volleyball will be at Lawrenceburg. Talk about soccer a little bit.
Well, it's kind of been nice. The boys have had a really good soccer run lately, and the numbers are still up. We've graduated quite a few kids the last 4 or 5 years that were really good soccer players, and it seems like Mike figures out and John figures out there's just another one to take their place. So it'll be a little different because we have a different, midfielder, and some of those kids have gone. So you'll have a chance for the senior class, and there's like 7 of them, so we'll have a chance to see what they're made of. And for the girls, this is kind of pleasant. It's the first year that I've been here that we're able to field a full varsity team and a full JV team.
Really?
So we had over 30 girls out there this year, which is a plus. Because, we all know soccer seems to be the sport on the rise. So a lot of the little kids are starting to play, and they're starting to filter up to the high school. So hopefully that'll be a plus for us in the long run. So
what about the tennis team?
Tennis team is pretty young again, too. So
okay.
And we got a new coach. Chris Bloom's the new tennis coach. Remember, Chris played basketball here. And he also played tennis. So this is his first year, and I think he'll do an outstanding job once he gets his feet wet and learns all the ins and outs. But kids seem to respond to him so far, and can't complain. So
about the new courts, they're okay?
Oh, they're gorgeous. Can't complain. I go out there in the mornings and I see some of the older folks out there playing out there on the tennis courts, and they seem to be pretty ecstatic at 7 o'clock in the morning out there and smacking that ball around. So
that's great. Wednesday's an off day. If you don't schedule anything on Wednesday,
just by chance. Not
have a makeup day.
Just kind of lucky. We might be needing Wednesday with much rain we may get. So
that could be. That could be. On Thursday, the boys will be home to Batesville. That is a 5 o'clock start. The varsity and junior varsity will be at Batesville, and that is what teams are those? I didn't write that down. At Batesville on Thursday. Let's see.
I have to think off the top of my head. I've been doing schedules
I'll have
and posters.
To double check. The girls' golf will be home to Greensburg at 5, and the girls' varsity and junior varsity, there again, will be at Richmond I'm not sure what those are. And the boys varsity and junior varsity will be meeting Newcastle at 5 o'clock and JV at 6:30. That might be
soccer is
another
Newcastle,
soccer.
and Richmond, I think, is soccer with the girls. So,
Mm-hmm.
but golf starting. They've had, I mean, heavens, by this time they're almost halfway through their season. So they start the first week of August. So they've had 3 weeks.
Yes.
3 weeks of matches, and they've had a lot of improvement from last year, and their scores are coming down.
Good.
And they're all. We have one senior, Lake and Flum, and the rest of them were basically freshman, sophomore, and a junior sprinkled in here and there. So
who's coaching?
Chris Bell's been the coach. This is his 3rd or 4th year.
Okay.
Has done a really good job with them. So
He's very excited. He stopped by my office last week and was talking about it, and
I think
very excited about being the coach and this season.
Well, he went to school to do that out in Carolina, and then just to be able to come home and coach what he loves. And he's a really good golfer himself, so that helps. And I know he's excited about the season, and he's seen the improvement from the girls coming back. I play a lot of golf, so I have seen them on the golf course most of the summer, which is a big change from the summer before. So I think they've kind of got the idea that if I go play, I will get better. So they've been out there a lot more.
Have you gotten better? If you go play?
Yeah, I've gotten better over the last 20 years quite a bit. So.
All right.
And of course, Friday night, the Spartans football opens up with Richmond.
Yeah, it'll be a good night for everybody. Hopefully we have good weather, and and Adam's got his hands in about everything he can get his hands into in the football program, and that's a plus.
Yes.
We're trying as a school to get our varsity coaches to get a little more hands-on with some of our younger kids and kind of start developing the program for everybody from volleyball, girls basketball, football, cross country, whatever. There's a feeder program in to get down there and kind of help out and build those programs up. But hopefully everybody come out and support the Spartans on Friday night. I hate to say it again, but we're pretty young. We do have 11 or so seniors, but it's football. 11 seniors isn't necessarily always a big class. I don't know exactly there's 11, but there's pretty close. But you'd like to get 15 to 20 out of each class, and that would be a lot better. So, but I know some of our skilled players, our running backs are a little bit older, but our quarterback and some of our receivers are going to be younger. Linemen's going to be a little bit younger, so that can be good or that can be bad when you have a young lineman. So
scrimmage with Monrovia was interesting, I thought.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see it. I was out of town, but I know Monrovia was 2A state champs the year before, pretty solid. But it's a good test for what we had. Previous school we were scrimmaging was only bringing 13 and 14 kids, and you just couldn't get a lot of see where you're at, and.
Yeah, I think they brought 60 kids.
Yeah.
Officials were there under game conditions. They were throwing penalty flags.
Oh yeah.
I mean.
I saw a few of those, but it's a little different because you run so many plays from the opponent's 35, then you run so many plays from the 50. Now it used to be the 10, now it's at the 50, and then you run so many plays at the 35 on your end, and then the JV get out for about 16 plays and play. Yeah. So it's a good test, but it's under somewhat game conditions. Of course, the clock has changed this year. That'll be the biggest thing. People will start seeing the clock run and the ball's out of bounds. Well, it's like the NFL now. As soon as the official spots the ball, 40 seconds start. So as soon as he puts his hand up, the clock's going to run whether the ball's in bounds or it's an incomplete pass or it went out of bounds or unless it's a timeout or a change of possession, then it's a 25-second clock. So we've had to modify our clock, get the patchwork, so you have a 25 and a 40-second now.
Yeah, I noticed.
So take another person to do that, or?
Well, hopefully Jeff Cooley's good enough to flip the button left or right, because if you flip it left, it's 25, and you flip it right, it's 40, and the little button in the middle starts it. So hopefully he's practiced that this last Friday. But if you know Jeff, he's pretty superstitious, so change doesn't settle well with Jeff. If you've been around him for 20 and watched him coach basketball, if he's winning, he comes back in the same outfit the next night. So
yes, I've noticed.
Parks in the same spot, eats the same food, but so hopefully that didn't throw him off too much. So
great guy.
Yeah, I can't complain about Jeff at all.
The football team had other scrimmages, didn't they? I mean, they work throughout the sun.
Well, they have so many days in the summertime that they can do things now with their helmets and shoulder pads. Football coaches kind of limit that to 12 different times, but they play some 7-on-7s. It's all helmet and just upper body, no shoulder pads, and then they might have shoulder pads, but they play other schools. It's more passing games. So they do that a few times in the summertime as well. But they can do things 12 different times as a group with their equipment.
And then they did things individually, didn't they? Like on Tuesday nights, weren't they out there?
Yeah, that's the passing league night, and then they have workouts, either 6 o'clock in the morning or 5:30 in the afternoon, and they do those 3 days a week. And then they went to a couple team camps, and went to the Colts complex one day. It was actually at North Central. It used to be at the Colts complex, but it was at North Central High School this year. And then they went up to Trine, which is up university up north, and they do those things. So it's a good experience for especially the younger kids.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people think these kids don't do anything in the summer, but seeing the school's out, all the student athletes
that's been
for every sport.
That's the challenge, is trying to get all the coaches to mesh together and work together so that you're not taxing all the athletes consistently. Like you don't practice basketball at the same time you're doing football or baseball, so that you don't tear those kids to which one they need to go to. But I will say our coaches are good about letting them out. If they need to go from one sport to the other one, they're all pretty good about letting them go. As long as they know they're going to do something and they're just not out doing nothing. But they've been really good about helping each other out and get kids from sport to sport for whatever reason. So that's a good thing to have.
Oh, that's great. The cooperation sure is. The weather, of course, the forecast had been rain for this week. What's the rule on a storm and things? If a storm comes up during a game or something?
Well, as long as it's just raining, we can still play. But if there's thunder or lightning, you have to clear the stands, clear the field, and then you had to wait 30 minutes from the last time you hear thunder or you see lightning. And then once that tag takes place, you can get back out. But if goes off in that 30 minutes, you start it all over again. So you've been there a couple nights where we set for
hours.
It just keeps booming and booming. And unfortunately for us, we face to the south, and you can see forever.
Yeah.
And lightning can see forever, where I always sometimes wonder how many other schools can't see that and they don't see it. They just keep playing.
Yeah. Down at Brookville, they're down in the valley. We're up on top.
From where we see it, it might be at Brookville, but we can still see it. So we need to face the other direction maybe. I don't know.
On Saturday, Brent cross country will be at the Richmond Invitational, and the boys tennis will be an invitational. That'll be here at CHS, right?
Yeah, we have two. Actually, we have two invitationals this week. Cross country is their first meet at Richmond. I hate to say it, there's only 2 senior boys and no senior girls, so we're relatively young in all of our sports at this time. And have a new cross country coach, Glenn Arndt. Glenn's a math teacher at the high school. He ran at New Prairie High School, ran for Butler. So he's coached Bishop Chittard girls for 6 years before he moved here. If you remember Amy Perry, he's married to Amy. Amy was a runner here. And so they're excited. I mean, I'm sure he's excited to get his feet wet and do some things. And then boys tennis has an invite at home this Saturday. Starts at 10. South Dearborn, East Central, us, and Rushville are in that. I think I got them all right. And then at 1:30 Saturday afternoon, there's 16 girls golf teams headed to the golf course, weather permitting, to have an invite. Starts at 1:30, so there'll be about 80 girls out there.
It's at Willowbrook?
At Willowbrook, which they're the gracious host every year, and can't ask for a better course and better cooperation with them. And we're always thankful and appreciative for what they offer for our 2 golf teams that we have out there. So
that's great. That's great.
So it's a big weekend. So hopefully the weather will hold out.
Yeah, I've got some other things here on Saturday. The volleyball will be at Franklin County, and the soccer will be home to Triton Central. It starts at 10 o'clock. The boys soccer, varsity and junior varsity, will be at Lawrenceburg. So
yeah, once the fall season starts, it just rolls. There's so many.
It's the busiest one for you. Isn't it?
It is. It's there's 20 sports altogether, and 8 of those are in the fall. So you got 6 in the winter, counting boys and girls, and 6 in the spring. But you got 8 in the fall. So it seems to be a lot of times that you just at an event about every night of the week, which is all right. I don't dislike it. And I know Shane doesn't mind either. So.
Well, that's great. I know it's a big job. That's scheduling.
Well, I think that's what you worry about the most. You don't ever want to go this way and they're going this way. So I think with the new technology, I can't speak to how it was when it was all pencil and paper. I don't know how they did it. But each week, most of us send out, here's our schedule for the week. If you disagree, please let us know. Of course, now our scheduler sends reminders to officials. It sends reminders to schools a week in advance, 7 days. 3 days in advance, so hopefully they see those things, and if there's a discrepancy, they pick up the phone and call.
Okay. Yeah.
I know New Pal, Al Cooper, the AD at New Pal, called me today, and I was in a meeting. I couldn't get to him, and I didn't get back to him right away because he said, text me if your girls are coming to us tonight. I said, yeah, we'll be there with both varsity. He goes, panic mode. of one of those things where you're thinking, oh gosh, are they coming? And we all have been there before. Even though you know it's in place, you stop and think about all the things that you might have missed or forgot about. So hopefully by Wednesday this week, we're ready for the football game with all the paperwork. And, that's the biggest one for me on Fridays is all the paperwork. Not that the other ones aren't any less important. It's just more things to do for the first home football game. Of course, Brian Edgecombe does a great job. So
yes, he does.
I don't worry too much whether the field's going to be painted and the markers are going to be out and everything in the press box is going to be clean and taken care of. And so from my standpoint, it's just getting rosters and people in the right spots for the first home football game.
Community really comes out and supports the football Spartans year in and year out, no matter what the record. And I think that speaks well of the kids and speaks well of the community.
Yeah, I've been here since 1989, and I can't remember a year where there hasn't really been a good football crowd, no matter what our record has been, and that's a plus. And it does help, that's the only thing in town on Friday nights, and that's a good night to have it. And as long as we have great weather, come out a little bit early and enjoy the festivities, and we're trying to make it bigger and better. We have, of course, this Friday night's little cheerleader night, so I'm not sure exactly when they're practicing this week, but if you get a hold of Coach Mitchell, you can find out if you can bring your little girls out for cheerleading.
I've got a 5-year-old granddaughter that plans on being there.
I'm sure. And then, of course, our next home game after that is South Dearborn, and that's homecoming. And then after that's Rushville, and that's middle school football recognition night. And then we've got East Central, and that's youth football league night. And then we got senior night against Batesville, and that's pink out night and senior night.
So something every night seems like.
Yeah, and that helps. I mean,
sure.
It does bring people in. That's part of trying to get people to come to the game. And hopefully if they like it, they'll come back and buy tickets and watch the rest of the games. And so
the schedule has 5 home games this year.
Yeah, we kind of got on the short end of the stick last year. Counting the scrimmage, we've actually had 6, but in order to pick up Monrovia, they wanted to host, and it wasn't worth losing a decent scrimmage opponent compared to who we were scrimmaging for, bickering over who's going to host the scrimmage game. When one of our contracts runs out, maybe with Broad Ripple, whatever, we've been looking to replace Broad Ripple right there in the middle of the season, then maybe we'll switch that and balance that back out. You like to have 5 and 5 each year.
Yes.
So next year we'll just have 4 home games because we won't have a scrimmage. So it's nice to have the scrimmage and 4 regular games or 5 home games. So just to kind of keep it a little bit balanced. So.
How to determine where the sectional will be played?
Well, I can't remember if it's the North or the South that's hosting this year. It's based on who you draw. Okay. I want to say last year the South hosted, but I can't remember. But I take that back. It's where you're at in the brackets. The lower team in the bracket hosts.
Oh, okay.
And then the next week, if you hosted and they hosted, then it's based on North or South. I'd have to go back. And
no realignment this year of teams?
No, same team, should be the same sectional. At the end of this year, they'll redo the realignment towards the end of this school year. So there's a possibility. I don't know that in football we'll ever drop out of 4A. The other sports we're on the borderline between 4A and 3A. So there is a possibility. I don't like to say that we could all move to 3A next year in all of our sports. We were only the second smallest 4A school last time. So with new people coming in and some people's enrollments going up and some are dropping, you just never know.
Some with success factors,
that's what happened with baseball and softball. The success factor, they move people up and then they try to move people down to balance out the classes. So, which doesn't make always sense, but that's how they work. So I guess for me as an athletic director, is it better to be the top of the 3A or the bottom of the 4A? That's the question you ask. So, in 3A, 3A, most of our sectionals will have our conference schools, the Batesvilles and the Greensburgs and Rushville, and East Central and us are the only 4A schools outside of football. So we'll see where that falls. So.
In the conference, the Indiana Athletic Conference that we're in, 4A and 3A is split, isn't it, in football? Yep. It's not like in basketball. No. Every game counts.
Yeah, that was one of the things when Pam and I were getting into the conference. Pam Noble was still the AD. That was something that the 6 schools that were already there wanted. They wanted 2 schools to come in, which was us and Rushville. But they didn't want to play everybody in football. And there are reasons why people have their own reasons. I would prefer to play them all, which we do. Yes. Never will I drop them all. Had something to do with who their out-of-conference games were and the gates they were making at football. Because football is their big sport, so they make their most money off football. So they didn't want to play all 7 schools and only have 2 non-conference games.
They like to play the Cincinnati schools.
Play the Cincinnati schools and the local down the road school, and they think it's bigger game. Now, personally, I think we should play everybody in the conference and all 7 games should count, but I haven't got that vote through yet. I keep trying.
Like we'll play maybe, 3 4A teams?
Yeah, the 4A teams are South Dearborn, us, East Central, and
Franklin
County. I was dropping that one. Then, of course, Richmond's 4A. Actually, Richmond's probably 5A if I had to guess without looking. They're probably 4A. And then Broad Ripple's 2A. So they didn't used to be 2A when we were starting playing them, but they're now 2A with all the changes they've had in Indianapolis. So,
Yes.
so we'll play 4 4A schools and 4 3A schools and a 2A school. So if I got them all right.
Sounds right.
Okay. Okay. What do you think of football? What's the outlook?
Well, I haven't really said. I'm going to talk with Adam this week a little bit. I try not to put predictions. Obviously we want to win. That's the goal.
Right.
Hopefully we're all teaching the correct skills and doing things. And I think as we've gone along the last 3 or 4 years, we've gotten better at things. Now our key is to get numbers out. Football is one of those, you have to have numbers. And it seems like anymore, whatever the reasons are, kids are wanting to just specialize in one sport, and that hurts everybody. I try to talk to our coaches about it, encourage them to get in other sports. And I think some of them, I don't know if it's coaches, parents, society, whatever, but everybody has that dream they're going to get that big Division I scholarship. And of course, I've been here since 1989, and from the male's standpoint of it, I can think of 2 in the last 27 years that's got big scholarships, and that'd been Daniel Knorr at IU and Matt Howard at Butler. The rest of them have all played smaller Division III, NAI, whatever, and those are more academics when you get money. So it's always good to have your kid be a good student, but those smaller schools are wanting kids who are well-rounded. They can do lots of different things.
Didn't we just have Stan Boy go to IU?
Yeah, I forgot about Andy.
Yeah.
And
but it's rare.
Yeah, and he's a preferred walk-on. I don't know how much money from a football standpoint is, but I'm sure he got a lot of money from his academics because valedictorian of the class. So I'm sure that helps. And I know that because my wife's brother played at Purdue as an invited walk-on, but his academics was salutatorian of his class, and that paid his way to go to Purdue more than his athleticism did. But I think it's just hard. And, we've had a lot more girls in the past 20 years, but those small schools want well-rounded athletes that can do lots of things that make them more versatile when they go to those schools.
It seems like every other week we would, during the summer, hear about one of our graduates signing with a school.
Yeah, I mean, and that's good because I think our coaches do a good job of trying to find if they want to play, they do a good job of trying to find a place for them to play. Whether it's Anderson or Defiance or Ohio Northern or Northern Kentucky or Franklin or whichever school, I think our coaches, if there's an interest to play, they all have enough connections anymore that, Bethels and Graces and to get them out there. And somebody went to Ancilla College, and I don't know if anybody knows there's an Ancilla College in Indiana besides me, but so hopefully they do a good job of trying to find them a spot to play if they want to try to play.
That's good. So, it works that way. I just always thought there was a scout seeing these kids from the college and.
Well, if you're that good, like Matt Howard, they're going to find you. Some of those that are not quite to that level, you kind of got to push, But if you're talented, and they'll find you no matter where you're at.
Once that coach gets to know the program too, they come back and see.
Yeah, and that's what you try to tell the kids about working hard and doing the right things, because when they ask you, you can't lie about what they do, because if you don't tell them the truth the first time, they're not going to come back and believe you. So you always talk about how hard you need to work and how things you got to do, so that we can be open up front with them about your work ethic and your grades and your character. Because if you fudge that a little bit, they're not going to trust you the next time. So you have to, and when we tell them, we're brutally honest with them. So you got to be open and do the things the right way all the time.
The new press box is going up.
Yeah, it's a good addition, for boys and girls soccer and softball. Right now we have the shell up. They got that done here in the last couple of weeks, and now we're waiting on WCC, which used to be WTCC, which is now WCC. The kids there are through the buildings and trade with Mr. Walton, and the electric class with Coach Sargent. They're going to finish the top and put the electrical work in, and
Good.
that'll give them experience. Of course, it also helps save a little bit of money when you're building, but you want those kids to have that practical experience. So I hope it all goes well, but I'm sure it will. You just always worry a little bit, but hopefully it'll be done by the end of I can't say it'll be done by softball, but hopefully by next fall we'll have it all up in place with concessions and restrooms.
Yeah.
There's a gravel road out there, hopefully, that sometime maybe we can get it paved to help get handicapped people back to the restrooms and those things. But that's the plan.
Yeah, a great addition, I think.
Yeah, I think it's been a long time coming. Give a press box for soccer and hopefully get the press box for the softball area, and then that'll be a plus. It's been in the works, and I think people will be happy with it. They don't have to walk 300 yards to go to the bathroom or whatever it is, but and be able to sell concessions when it's on those hot days in the spring and the fall when you're sitting out there at soccer, and so it's a positive thing.
We had that softball team come up from down south for
Silver Creek,
and I was out there, and I saw a real need for that. But
yeah, I mean there's 300 plus people sitting around
big
there.
Crowd.
You don't like to really put porta potties out there because bad things can happen to porta potties, but it's something that's a positive thing that the schools put in and are moving forward with, and that's a plus for our program.
And will the soccer fields be relocated?
We've widened it a little bit this year, and
okay.
The press box on the north side will have hopefully a window at the top that'll service the soccer field as well. So should be able, and the goal eventually is to have a couple softball fields where the side windows can help service as your press box for both of those fields. So just a matter of getting them in the right spots.
We want to mention here before we close that the Connersville Parks Department is accepting registrations until this Friday for their soccer program, their fall soccer program, and I know that kind of feeds into CHS, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's U14s and U13s, whatever they call those, and they're under their age levels, but I know that's a growing sport, and that reminds me I haven't signed my grandkid up yet, so I have the paper on my desk, so I have to get that finished. But yeah, that's a plus because now those guys and the girls are both playing at those young levels, and hopefully they're developing those skills that will only help our high school kids as they get older. So.
They play on Saturdays, I believe.
Saturdays and some Sundays and afternoons. I've been down there quite a bit.
They have
He's usually pulling grass, but that's okay.
Well, Sam, I know you're looking forward to
Sure are.
To an exciting season here.
Yeah, just the start of many Friday nights here. Dave Pollard and I will have all the action on KMX 106.9 all season long, and invite those that can't come to the game, be sure and tune us in. And we'll look forward to watching you on TV as well.
Yeah, it's a great experience and a great way to spend a Friday night is to cover the Spartans in all their sports.
Well, I know we're thankful for what Channel 3 does for athletes and KMX as well. You know, it's a rarity that towns have both of those, and you know, a lot of them don't even have a radio anymore. So it's nice to be able to travel and sit at home if you can't travel and tune in, stream them, or whatever you do to get them in. So,
well, Brent, we really appreciate you taking the time. We know you're a busy guy, and
yeah, it's life.
That you come to us and join us for these programs.
Well, I appreciate you having us. Anytime we can get our programs on our kids out there, that's all it's about. You know, they're the focus. As long as they're getting things they need done and things are well for them, that's the best part of it.
Sam, we wish the Spartans, all the Spartans, the best of luck this season.
Absolutely. Get out and support them.
And thanks very much for watching the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3.